He handed a bottle of water to a stranger. That one small gesture ended up costing him his job and led to 40 thunderous motorcycles gathering outside his home. If you've ever offered kindness without expecting anything in return, this story is yours. May peace light your path, may your burdens ease, and may your deepest hopes inch closer each day. Before we begin, tell us, where in the world are you watching from? The warehouse hummed faintly under flickering lights, casting shadows over the stacked boxes that stood like quiet sentinels. It was just after 6 o'clock a.m. when Alex Carter noticed something off, a shadow in a place that should have been empty. Moving cautiously, wearied by another restless night, he stepped across the concrete floor, his boots making soft echoes. After more than 10 years on the job, Alex didn't go looking for trouble, but he didn't turn his back on people either. There, leaning against a crate, sat a biker, injured, breath shallow. His jacket was torn, blood dried near his collar, one eye swollen shut. He was hurt but not broken, his pride still intact. The security camera's angle missed him by inches. Alex didn't speak. He reached into his lunch and pulled out a thermos and a bottle of water. A quiet offer. The biker's trembling hands accepted it with a silent nod. They didn't exchange words, but something passed between them. In under a minute, the man vanished. Days later, so did Alex Carter's job. When Alex arrived for his next shift, wearing the same cap his daughter had embroidered with crooked red thread that read, "My Hero," he didn't realize what awaited him. Halfway down the aisle, he spotted the manager, Mark Jenkins, flanked by two security guards, clipboard in hand, face cold. "Alex Carter, we need a word," he said flatly. "You were caught on camera assisting an intruder and failed to report it. That breaches our safety policy." Alex blinked. "I gave a man water. He was bleeding." Jenkins didn't waver. "And you let him go. That's negligence. You're terminated, effective immediately." They walked him out without a handshake, without a word of thanks. Just silence. Outside, the wind bit through his coat like it wasn't even there. Alex didn't argue. He sat on the curb, eyes fixed on the empty lot. His thoughts raced. How would he explain this to Mia, his 10-year-old? But life doesn't ask if you're ready. What Alex didn't yet know was that someone had seen more than just a video, and they hadn't forgotten. That afternoon, Mia looked up from her coloring book, markers clutched in her hands. "Are you sick?" she asked as Alex stood dripping in the doorway, trying to smile. He shook his head. "Just wanted to spend the day with you." Her brow furrowed. "Did someone die?" He chuckled weakly. "Nothing like that." Then almost in a whisper, "Did we get fired?" He winced. She always said we, like they faced the world as one. Because they did. He nodded. She climbed down from her chair and wrapped her arms around him. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're still my hero." Later that night, while Mia slept beneath glow-in-the-dark stars on her ceiling, Alex stared at a pile of unopened bills. He didn't cry, but he was close. Then, faintly at first, came a low rumble. Engines. He stepped to the window. The sound grew louder, closer. Headlights flared into view, one after the other. Something or someone was coming. By dawn, the entire street buzzed. Neighbors whispered behind curtains. Phones recorded in silence. Outside Alex's modest rental, more than 40 motorcycles lined the curb, their chrome catching the early sun. Their jackets bore insignias few recognized, but those who understood knew what they meant. Alex stepped out, placing himself between the crowd and his daughter. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from uncertainty. Then he saw a familiar face, the biker from the warehouse. No more bruises, hair clean, gaze steady. He nodded and stepped aside. Another man walked forward, tall, gray-bearded, leather vest draped over broad shoulders. His patch read, "AF." "You helped one of ours," he said, his voice rough but steady. Alex swallowed. "I only gave him water." The man smiled. "Exactly. No one does that anymore." He held out a gleaming silver key. "Come with us. There's more to this story." Mia peeked out. "Are you superheroes?" He chuckled. "No, kid. We're just the kind of people who remember." And with that, the engines fell quiet. The street held its breath. The next chapter was about to begin. Alex Carter stood frozen as the vibrations from 40 engines reverberated through his chest. He glanced down at Mia, her tiny hands wrapped tightly around his pinky. Every instinct told him to keep her back, to say no, to protect. But something in the calm conviction of the biker's voice broke through the fear. "I don't want any trouble," Alex finally said, his voice low. "You didn't cause any," the silver-bearded man answered gently. "You eased pain when no one was looking. That kind of man. We ride for him." The biker Alex had helped stepped forward, extending a calloused hand. "Name's Stone. You looked me in the eye when I felt invisible." Alex shook it, slowly, still uncertain. "Why are you all here?" he asked. Stone offered a quiet smile. "Because we don't let good men fall." The leader extended the silver key again. "This unlocks something we think you've earned. A second chance." Then he gestured toward a black van at the edge of the group, its engine purring quietly. "Come see what your kindness started." Alex hesitated. Then Mia whispered, "Let's go, Daddy." The van door slid open with a whisper of hydraulics, revealing a fully restored Harley-Davidson, matte black, accented with deep red, a mirror finish that seemed to defy time. It looked like it had never aged, like it had been waiting. Alex blinked. I don't ride." "You don't have to," Stone said softly. "But your dad did." Alex's heart froze. "How do you know that?" The silver-bearded man stepped closer, voice almost reverent. "Well, your father was Robert Rivers. Rode with our chapter back in the 80s. Quiet man, always fixing what others broke. Died young, before you turned 10, right?" Alex nodded slowly, numb. "He once saved my brother's life," the man continued, "patched a leaking gas line with duct tape and sheer willpower. That bike," he pointed to the Harley, "was his. We rebuilt it for you." He handed Alex a worn photo. Robert Rivers, younger, grease-smudged, smiling beside a teenage Stone. Alex stared at the machine again. It didn't just look like a bike. It looked like a memory still alive. That same afternoon, Alex and Mia rode quietly in the van behind the biker convoy. He didn't ask where they were going. He didn't need to. Mia pressed her face to the window, marveling at the leather-jacketed formation moving as one, like guardians in motion. They arrived at an empty parking lot beside a weathered garage, its outer walls cracked with time. But when the doors opened, the inside told a different story. Gleaming floors, neatly arranged tools, fresh paint, and the earthy scent of oil and sawdust hanging in the air. Above the entrance hung a sign in bold, clean lettering, "Rivers Customs." Alex's breath caught. "What is this?" "Your new workplace," Stone said, stepping beside him. "Your new beginning." Alex blinked. "But I don't have the money. I don't even know how to." "We'll teach you. We'll guide you. Your dad taught most of us. Now it's our turn." Mia beamed. "Daddy's shop." Alex felt something burn behind his eyes. This wasn't a handout. It was a torch being passed. He stepped inside, fingertips brushing across smooth counters, weathered tools, and the smell of wood in the steel that somehow felt familiar. He paused at an old pegboard where a single leather tool belt hung. The initials carved into it made his breath hitch. "We kept it just in case," Stone murmured, placing a hand on Alex's shoulder. When Alex lifted it from the wall, it felt solid, worn, and warm, like home. He strapped it on slowly, and in that moment, the bikers said nothing. They didn't need to. They just let it breathe. Mia wandered the shop like an explorer, peeking into drawers, whispering with awe. "This is the best place ever." Alex let out a long breath. For the first time in weeks, the crushing weight on his chest lifted, not because everything was solved, but because he finally understood he wasn't alone. Outside, the rumble of motorcycles faded into the distance. Inside, something else sparked awake, hope. Over the next hour, Alex didn't talk much, and no one asked him to. Stone walked him through the lift systems. Another rider named Chains slowly explained the shop software, pausing for Alex to scribble notes in a weathered notebook. No one rushed him. They simply showed up, again and again. Mia settled near the window, sketching new logos on the backs of receipts. One biker, Hammer, spotted her drawing flames around the shop's name and grinned. "I'm painting that on the window," he promised with a fist bump. Alex watched the moment with his arms folded, unsure whether to smile or weep. He'd been fired for offering help in silence. Now strangers were rebuilding his life with the same quiet grace. At one point, Stone handed over a battered tin box. Inside were original deeds and shop permits, already signed in Alex's name. "This place was always meant for you," Stone said. Alex couldn't speak. His heart pounded. Sometimes silence says everything. That evening, long after the bikes had vanished into dusk and Mia had dozed off, curled up in the corner office, Alex stood outside the shop under a deep purple sky. He hadn't asked for this. Never dreamed of it. All he had done was try to do the right thing. That's when a voice, soft and raspy, cut through the quiet. "You've got your father's eyes." An old man stepped from the sidewalk, leather vest, weathered face, faded jeans, and a limp where a bike should have been. "You knew him?" Alex asked. "Knew him? Robert Rivers pulled me from a pileup in Phoenix. Leg was crushed. Thought I'd die. He patched me up. Never forgot." The man handed Alex a creased photograph. Him, bloodied and half-conscious, leaning against a younger Robert Rivers. Face determined, eyes matching Alex's. "I heard what you did. You helped Stone when no one else would." Apple didn't fall far. Alex stared at the photo, then at the man. For the first time in a long time, the past didn't feel like something to run from. It felt like something to walk toward. 2 days later, Rivers Customs opened its doors without ceremony or press, just Alex, Stone, and a slightly burned pot of coffee. Their first customer was Claire, a woman with a busted chain and a weary voice. Her hands trembled as she explained how her late husband used to fix the bike, and now she couldn't afford dealership prices. Alex listened, nodded, and rolled up his sleeves. It took 2 hours and 3 tries, but when he handed back her keys, Claire's eyes shimmered. "You didn't even ask for payment." "I will," Alex said with a smile. "Just not today." She hugged him tightly, then rode off with steadier hands. Stone clapped him on the back. "You fixed more than a chain today." That evening, Mia proudly taped her flame-covered logo sketch to the shop window. One customer turned into 5. 5 became a dozen. Alex wasn't just repairing bikes anymore. He was restoring something far deeper: trust, dignity, connection. Sometimes second chances don't come crashing in. Sometimes they rumble up quietly, park at the curb, and wait for you to say yes. 1 week later, Alex Carter found himself walking into Mia's school for a meeting. Not with dread like before, but with a quiet steadiness in his step. The teacher greeted him warmly. "Nothing bad," she assured. "We just wanted you to know. Mia's been drawing your garage during class and her writing assignments. All about you." Alex chuckled, a bit flustered. "I hope that's not a distraction." "Quite the opposite," she said. "We'd love to have you speak on career day." He froze. That invitation was always for people in suits, professionals with resumes and polished shoes, not men who wore oil-stained aprons and smelled of grease. But then he saw the drawing behind her desk. A man in a shop apron, standing beside a motorcycle, a little girl in goggles grinning next to him. Written in bold crayon letters beneath it, "My dad fixes what people give up on." Alex smiled softly, throat tight. Maybe that's exactly what he did. And maybe finally it was something to be proud of. 4 weeks in, just as business found its rhythm, a familiar black sedan pulled into the lot. Alex Carter wiped his hands on a rag as the door opened. And there stood Mark Jenkins, his old manager, the man who'd fired him without pause. Mark stepped out, his expression unreadable. "Didn't expect this to be real," he muttered. Alex crossed his arms. "Didn't expect to see you here." Mark hesitated. "I heard talk. Thought maybe you were running with bad people." Stone emerged from the office, his presence calm but watchful. Mark took a breath. "I'm not here for trouble. I came to apologize." Alex blinked. Mark lowered his gaze. "Corporate reviewed the footage. Said I jumped the gun. You lost your job for doing the right thing." "I didn't have your back. I covered mine." A long silence settled before Alex finally nodded. "Thanks for saying it." Mark walked away without another word, and as the door to the sedan shut, Alex realized, some redemption doesn't roar, it just whispers. Later that same day, a teenager in a torn hoodie pushed a battered scooter into the lot. He kept his head down, eyes darting like someone used to being shooed off. Alex approached gently. "Everything all right?" The boy fidgeted. "Won't start. I need it for work." Stone leaned from the office. "What's your name?" "Sam." Alex crouched beside the scooter. "Okay, Sam. Let's see what we're dealing with." As they worked, Sam opened up. 17, no home, juggling 2 part-time jobs, sleeping behind the library most nights. Alex didn't judge. He just listened. Within the hour, the scooter sputtered back to life. Sam stared, stunned. "How much?" "Nothing," Alex said. "But if you're looking for more than just repairs, we could use a hand sweeping the lot." Sam's eyes brimmed and he nodded fast, too proud to say thank you aloud. As he walked off, Stone murmured, "He reminds me of someone." Alex nodded. He knew exactly who. Some people don't need saving speeches. Just someone willing to hand them a wrench. 2 months in, one photo changed everything. A customer snapped a picture of the shop window, Mia's hand-drawn Rivers Customs logo framed in red flames, her signature proudly below it. The image spread like wildfire online. Comments poured in. "Best mechanic in town, help my brother for free." This is what second chances look like. Local press came first, then national outlets. A morning show reached out, asking Alex to tell his story. He declined the spotlight but let Stone speak. "I've ridden with saints and outlaws," Stone told the camera. "This man helped someone when no one was watching. That's more than most do with the world watching." Offers came in for Mia to design for other small businesses. She looked up at Alex, eyes bright. "Am I your partner now?" He grinned. "You've always been." They added her name to the wall of the shop, small, gold, right beside his. In a world quick to scroll past or forget, something genuine had rooted itself. Kindness had gone viral, and this time it stayed. On a crisp fall morning, Stone handed Alex a folded note and a leather jacket with the AFFA patch sewn on the back. "You don't have to wear it," he said, "but you've earned it." The note was short. "One last ride, just us. No questions asked." Alex kissed Mia's forehead, buckled on his helmet, and joined Stone down the open road. They rode for over an hour, just wind and wheels and horizon, until they arrived at a quiet clearing. Wildflowers brushed the breeze and a modest stone stood under the trees. Carved into it, Robert Rivers. Alex's breath caught. He hadn't been back since he was a teen. "We rebuilt this," Stone said. "For him, for you, for everyone he helped without asking." Alex knelt and placed the AFA jacket at the base of the memorial. Then from his pocket, he added something else. Mia's drawing. Stone gently set a single glove beside it. He'd be proud. And for the first time in Alex Carter's life, he believed that. 2 weeks after the ride, a letter arrived bearing the city seal. Alex Carter held it like it might burn him, expecting fines, violations, maybe an eviction notice. But when he opened it, he found something else. An invitation. The city council wanted to recognize him publicly for helping a stranger, for building something that lifted others. They called it a model of quiet courage in working-class America. Alex shook his head with a half-smile. "All this, for a bottle of water?" Stone patted his shoulder. "Wasn't the water, it was the way you gave it." At the event, neighbors, customers, and reporters gathered. Mia stood proudly in a red bow tie and introduced her dad with a heartfelt, slightly wobbly speech. On stage, Alex Carter spoke only a few words. "I didn't do anything special. I just didn't look away." The crowd rose to their feet, clapping loud and long. And for the first time in years, Alex Carter didn't feel overlooked. He felt seen. And that kind of dignity, earned, not given, was the real reward. Winter arrived in a breath, dusting rooftops with snow and wrapping the city in quiet. Business slowed, but Rivers Customs never stopped. Locals wandered in with warm cookies, scarves, and gratitude, exchanging stories and holiday wishes. Alex Carter kept working. Bikes, snowblowers, whatever showed up. His hands never idle, his heart never cold. On Christmas Eve, as he locked up, he heard a sound he now recognized deep in his chest. The low growl of engines, but not one. 40, he stepped outside just as the street lit up with headlights and laughter. Stone led the procession, every biker donning a Santa hat, or tinsel-strung handlebars. But they weren't here to fix anything. They were here for Mia. Stone parked and pulled open a large box. Inside was a custom pink leather jacket with MIA embroidered in gold across the back, followed by a tiny flame-decorated helmet with a miniature AFA patch sewn on the side. He knelt and held it out. "Little Rivers," he said, voice warm. "You're family now." Mia screamed with delight, throwing her arms around him, laughter echoing into the cold air. Alex stood at the doorway, arms folded, speechless. It wasn't just a present. It was inclusion. It was pride. Somehow 40 riders, men of few words, had made one little girl feel like royalty. Spring crept in with soft winds and bright petals. Flowers bloomed beneath the hand-painted shop sign, now outlined in stars Mia had added herself. Alex arrived early each morning, often welcomed by strangers who'd heard the story, some by rumor, some online, just wanting to shake his hand. One day, a man in a tailored suit stepped out of a cab, clearly out of place amid oil stains and steel. "You probably don't remember me," he said, "but you fixed my sister's bike. That ride got her to a job interview. She got the job, changed everything." Alex opened his mouth but found no words. The man handed him a sealed envelope. A small thank you from someone who paid attention. Inside was a check, enough to cover rent for a year. That night, Alex sat at the kitchen table, Mia beside him, coloring as always. "Daddy," she asked, "do you think I could help people when I grow up?" He smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "You already do." And in that quiet room, filled with crayons, grease, and love, kindness passed gently to the next generation. 12 months after it all began, the story was still alive, echoing through school assemblies, whispered in biker bars, reshared on forums about everyday heroes. But Alex never sought the spotlight. He just kept fixing things, kept showing up. Every now and then, a biker would arrive, say nothing, sit quietly, nod once. That was enough. The family he'd built didn't need words. Mia eventually added a second line to the window logo beneath Rivers Customs. It read, "Built on kindness." Alex framed her sketch and hung it on the wall above the workbench. And when people asked how a man who had lost his job ended up with a garage, a tribe, and a legacy, he always gave the same answer. "It started with a bottle of water. That's it." Because the world hadn't noticed that moment. But he had. And so did one man, then 40 more, then hundreds, and eventually everyone. That one small act had changed everything. So, if you ever wonder whether small kindness matters, remember Alex Carter? And if his story moved something in you, let us know in the comments. Would you have helped that biker or walked away? Hit subscribe for more real stories of redemption, of hope, and of the quiet power of doing what's right when no one's watching.